All right, let's talk about the one thing you can never get back. I mean, ever. And that's your time. Because right now, whether you know it or not, there's a huge invisible battle being fought for every single second of your attention. And honestly, most of us don't even realize we're on the battlefield.
So let's just start right there. I want you to actually take a second and think about this. I'm not talking about some philosophical, what is time kind of thing. I mean, for real, for you. How much time do you actually have?
Okay, let's make this super tangible. See all these dots? Each one of those is a month, a single month in a 90-year life. That's it. 1,080 months total. And if you're, say, 18 years old, this is a pretty optimistic look at what you've got left. And yeah, it's probably not as many dots as you thought it would be, is it? And what's really sobering is how fast those months get spoken for. I mean, just look at this breakdown. A full third of them, gone, just sleeping. Then you've got this huge chunk for work or school. Throw in all the adulting stuff, chores, cooking, errands. And what you're left with is this surprisingly tiny little slice for, well, everything else.
And that small slice, that's it. That's where you actually live. You know? That's the time for the bucket lists, for your passions, for building those deep relationships, for becoming the person you really want to be. How you spend this time, it literally defines the quality of your entire life.
So, best case scenario, what does that leave us with? About 334 months. That's your time. And here's the thing. You don't just spend this time, you invest it. The person you're going to be 10, 20 years from now is being built right now by the choices you make with these months. So, when you think about investing that precious time, I'm going to guess that endlessly scrolling TikTok or binge watching an entire series on Netflix wasn't exactly what you pictured. And that, well, that brings us to a pretty jarring reality. It's called the 93% problem. Okay, get ready for this because this number is just wild. Right now, the average 18-year-old in the US is on pace to spend 93% of their remaining free time looking at a screen. Seriously, just let that sink in for a second. 93%. You know what that adds up to? Over 26 years. 26 years of your life. So you really have to ask yourself, right? What does spending 26 years looking at a screen actually do to a person? What are you investing in? And how does that fundamentally change the person you become? And that's such a crucial question because this goes way deeper than just, wasted time. There are these huge hidden costs to all that scrolling. Costs that mess with our minds, our ability to think, and even the core values we live by. So, first up, the mental costs. We've all heard about the links to depression and anxiety, right? But let's talk about the cognitive cost for a sec. Think about it. The average TikTok is, 15 seconds long? When you're constantly switching your attention that fast for hours every day, you are literally rewiring your brain. You're training yourself to be distracted all the time. It makes focusing on any one thing for a long time, well, almost impossible. And then there's the sneakier one, the philosophical cost. This is the set of values that each platform kind of pushes on you, just through its design. Let's take Instagram, for example. The whole design, it's all about perfect pictures, getting likes, and building this curated profile. The unspoken message, your worth is all about what you look like and the cool stuff you do on vacation. It pushes you to capture your life for an audience instead of, actually living it. All for that little hit of approval from people you barely know. Or how about Twitter? The whole setup, the character limit, that fire hose of a timeline, it basically screams that every complex issue is just black-white. It teaches you that being updated on a million different things is way more important than being deeply informed about one. And you can see the shift so clearly when you put these new platforms next to something, well, old, like a book. What's the message of a book? It's that the world is complex and understanding it takes time and focus. And social media's message? The world is simple and your attention should be shattered into a million tiny pieces. The medium really is the message. So why? Why do we do this to ourselves? Why is there such a massive gap between how we want to use our time and how we actually end up using it? Well, and this is so important, it's not your fault. It's not some personal failing. This is not an accident. It's all by design. It's the result of a very, very powerful business model. And here's the simple, brutal truth of it. These services aren't free. The reason you don't pay for them is because you're not the customer. You're the product that they sell to advertisers.
And the business model is ruthlessly simple. Step 1, collect as much data on you as they possibly can to figure out exactly what makes you tick. Step 2, show you a ton of targeted ads. But it's not just about the ads. They build these platforms with things like infinite scroll and unpredictable rewards, literally the same psychological tricks that make slot machines so addictive, all to hook your brain and keep you glued to the screen long enough to see more and more ads.
So that's the real trade right there. Social media feels free because you're paying for it with your time and your attention. Their entire profit model is tied directly to how long they can keep your eyeballs on their app. Every extra second you spend scrolling is another dollar in their pocket. Okay, so that's the system we're all in. That's what we're up against. The big question is, how do we fight back? How do we reclaim this incredibly valuable thing we have? Well, it all starts with a huge mental shift. It starts by figuring out what your time is actually worth to you.
Let's try a little thought experiment. Just right now, think of the app you use the most. Got it? Okay. Now, what if tomorrow they announce they're going to start charging a monthly subscription for it? How much would you actually pay? $5 a month? 10? What's the price where you'd say, you know what? Never mind, I'm out.
Okay, now let's flip that around and calculate the true cost that you're already paying with your time. Let's just pull a number out of the air and say your free time is worth, I don't know, a conservative $20 an hour. And let's say you spend about 2 hours a day on that app. You multiply that by 30 days in a month, and yeah, the math starts to get a little bit scary. You are effectively paying $1,200 a month for that supposedly free app. Now be honest, would you ever write a check for $1,200 a month to use TikTok? No way, of course not. And what this little exercise shows is that most of us are just drastically overpaying for these services with our most valuable currency, our time.
So how do you get a better deal? How do you stop overpaying? It comes down to asking yourself two really simple but super powerful questions. First, what actual value is this app providing me? Like for real. Is it keeping me connected with family who live far away? Is it genuinely entertaining me? You have to be specific. And then, the second question, how much of my limited, can't get it back time is that specific value actually worth? Is it worth an hour a day? Or is it maybe only worth about 10 minutes?
Look, the point of all this isn't to say that social media is worthless. It's not. It can be an amazing tool, but you have to use it with intention, right? Not just as your default setting when you're bored. Because you don't want to get to the end of your life, look back at all those little dots, and realize that because you were so afraid of missing out, you actually missed out on living. That free time, that is your most valuable resource. Don't just give it away for free.